Hello and welcome to the wonderful world of uh, I don't know what, but I'm Fabian, and in Medford, and this is Martin Francis over in Grants Pass, Oregon. I won't
The,
give you his address because we don't, that's dangerous.
the wonderful world of saying what you see.
Yes, and the title I just came up at the last minute because I so many people are lost in la la land, and I mean what I mean that is like fantasy land and the intellect, and we got into that big debate. Well, I mean, not debate. We got into like kind of a debate argument on the live messenger yesterday while I was waiting at the airport. And I was saying that intellect is wrong, and so were you, Martin, and David Caracciolo, of course, thinks that's crazy, and most people would, a lot of people would. And I got into it with him, and all the people in the waiting room heard me. Like I'm totally oblivious, and I'm focused on the fight with David, and I probably ever 100 people are probably listening, and so going calling him a coward and all kinds of stuff.
You should have put it on speaker so they could at least hear David too.
Yeah, I know, huh? Oh no, yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was on speaker.
Oh, nice.
But I felt guilty because I don't like I'm of the God's making me of the person that I don't like imposing on people. And I did impose that whole thing on them, and I wasn't even aware of it because I got into it. But anyway, no big deal.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Sometimes those things happen, and so you can blame God for not giving you the awareness of that ahead of time,
yeah,
because he
right.
didn't. He wanted them to hear it. Otherwise, he would have given you the awareness because you are considerate of folks.
Well, yeah, I can just blame God, right?
You want to be
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Haha. But no, I think it was not considerate. But anyway, then I realized I felt embarrassed, and I was going on the plane with all these people. They're probably all thinking, who knows, But I realized too, it may have helped somebody, so I just kind of blew it off. Um. So yeah, so the thinking. It seems like if you don't think, like I heard, like, okay, here I go again. I'm going to bring them up because I love the foundation. I love Roy Masters. So I keep tabs on the gentleman who's taken over for Roy, Alan Masters, his son. And on Sundays, uh, uh, conversations that used to be really good with Roy, he brought up a quote from Socrates about thinking that we should, you know, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was again reemphasizing thinking, and Alan uses that word a lot, which is the opposite of what Roy accurately phrased intuition or conscience. It's wordless. It's not thinking at all. As a matter of fact, we do the Roy Masters meditation exercise, and I hope everyone does that, and to separate from the thinking, because the thinking is insane, even if it seems normal, but we're just used to using it. Um, so, oh yeah, so I brought that up because if you hear any leader, any like minister talk about think about this, spend the week thinking about this, and let me know on the weekend what you came up with. That's all garbage. They're all deceivers, and they're listening to demonic forces, and they have no idea. They think it's God or their conscience. But Martin, God doesn't talk to us in our head. The conscience is not a voice in our head or us talking it, right?
Well, now that you mention it, I've come across people who say they don't even hear the voice in their head. And then I remember seeing a video about Roy saying that about Roy and I mean with Roy in it, and he was one of his videos, and he was like, if people don't hear the voice, they're too close to it. They're too attached to it. And so I figure, wow, here I'm complaining and whining about hearing that voice in my head. And it's actually a blessing, because there's no subconscious when you are practicing meditation. Your conscience shows you all that's going on in your subconscious. It shows you all of your secret desires and judgments, and it shows you all that. It all comes out. There is no secret you don't know about yourself.
Yes,
but you're just in denial of it, but you don't. But it's not like you lack the news. You do know.
But the weird thing is, I remember when I really started to wake up, I realized that if you don't use your intellect, your thinking, to think about something, and it seems like you're talking yourself, like you'll have these ideas. Oh, I wonder what if I do this, or gee, I'd like to watch this on TV or YouTube tonight. Like you're talking to yourself, right? But it's actually, I realize that it's actually dark forces saying that to me, because it wants to direct me towards a certain path, rather than now I just stay in the moment and I don't go along with those ideas or words in the head, no matter how normal it may seem. It may seem perfectly normal, like it'll say to me, oh gee, I want to watch about waterfalls tonight. But it's leading you. Anytime you go along with any words in your head, even if you're talking to yourself, it's leading you down the path of darkness, because Jesus said, don't think about things. Don't think about what you're going to eat. Don't think about what you're going to say at the magistrate. Don't think about what you're going to say means anything. So
take no thought for your life.
Right. So when David Cracchiolo berates me and calls me, well, you just are against learning. Well, how do the Marine Corps teach their people how to strip a rifle if you're not going to use your intellect? But maybe he's just misunderstanding what I mean. But you don't need your intellect, the voice in the head, the words in the head, to just learn. You just learn. You just do it by practice. If you read something over enough, your natural intuition will pick up on what it's teaching.
Learning should not be an exercise of memorization. Learning should be an exercise of understanding, and understanding comes from the intuition. It doesn't come from knowledge bank up here, because your knowledge bank, and I don't know which side of the head the knowledge bank is in, but your knowledge bank could be full of the wrong knowledge. Oh my gosh, what do we do with it then? But a lot of people don't realize they have the wrong knowledge in their head, the wrong knowledge of this or the wrong knowledge of that.
Yes, and it comes down to a matter of faith too, because if you don't partake of the brain thinking, intellect, you have to have faith. But faith, there's some noise by your speaker, Martin. I don't know if it's wind or something. What is it? It's like, oh.
Now you just made me get upset.
It's not constant. It's just periodic. It's static. Yeah, it's
really
noise. Yeah. But people think that if they don't think, how will they know anything? But if you live by faith, you don't think. So that it's kind of like how did he say it? When you live in the moment and you don't partake of thinking, you think that you won't know anything. It is really what Roy was talking about. Like you feel like you're dying when you let go, because that's all ego stuff. It's connected to demons. So if you let go of that, it's like you won't even know anything. But then amazingly, things pop up, ideas come up. And then when you talk, you have something to say that's meaningful. But if you blabber like most people, and most people on the talking heads on YouTube, on all the platforms, on TV, they're blathering from their intellect. That's why it's not dynamic and very interesting. I'm not saying all people, but that's very typical. Roy was a very unique person. He spoke from his intuition, so it was different all the time.
Okay. And here's something from the Bible that backs up what you just said. In John, that's the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 26. Jesus, now this is Jesus speaking, David. Jesus says, but the Comforter, which is the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things and will bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you.
Yeah, there you go.
But
That's
that
intuition.
Everything else that's ever been said to you, it's appropriate for you to remember it. The Holy Spirit will bring you into remembrance of whatever you need. And we're all like trying to do mind tricks to get our memory to be better. And there are teachers out there who teach you how to do all these mind manipulation stuff. I don't believe in mind manipulation. Don't do that. You should be an observer of life. You shouldn't be a mind manipulator.
Can you knock your volume down a couple notches maybe? Because maybe that's what it is. It's just like a little bit of, so after you speak, there's a little bit of noise. I definitely hear it. It wasn't happening last time.
That should do it.
Okay.
That should do it.
Sounds better. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So, right. So it's like, if you're not practicing silent prayer, it's almost impossible to realize what we're talking about, because it seems so normal to think about things, to mull it over, to, oh, I wonder, this and that, and I hear, people, even Alan Masters say that, like I can hear he's thinking about things. Well, he often says, I thought about this, or I said this. I forgot how he says it, but I can tell. But the reason I'm bringing him up in this, even this whole subject matter, it's because of the thinking is why people are blocked from standing courageously against a clot shot mass murder that's going on, that's escalating, with millions of people objectively dead. And yes, I bring it up every time because they're not stopping. And if you're in your thinking, your intellect, it will give you all kinds of excuses and reasons why Donald Trump is still calling it lifesavers. And none of it is true, just because the thinking is a liar.
There's something about, let's see, you know how they say birds of a feather flock together? Well, let's go back to the original COVID problem and realize that Donald Trump, they say he was fooled because he hangs with the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
Fauci and Birx, doctors Fauci and Birx, were not somebody he should have been hanging with. It was common knowledge that they were Clinton, that they voted for Clinton. He's trying to act like, they're doctors, so that doesn't matter. And he's like, he surrounds himself with a bunch of liberal doctors and advisors in other areas, and
because he's a liberal at heart,
right? And then his followers, his supporters, wonder why he didn't get the proper information, or maybe he just doesn't know better. Well, because he's aligning himself with people who are keeping him in the dark, and he likes being in the dark in certain segments, so he can have plausible deniability. That's what it's all about in politics.
No,
plausible deniability.
No, it's worse than that. It's far worse than that. Yeah, he has been contacted by many doctors who care a whole hell of a lot, and he blew them off. I know that a lot, and he had a meeting with RFK Jr., who warned him. He knows he's very adept at going on Rumble and other platforms where you can see people dying and suffering. No, he knows, But even if it were true what you were saying, and he doesn't, not caring enough to not know is not an excuse for the mass murder that's going on and colluding with it. Because the problem is, if that were the case, then he could just say, well, I just don't know. I don't have enough information. Even after 4 years and millions of people suffering, yeah, like that would work. But anyway, that's what he would say. But no, instead, he says that we saved like 100 million lives still, like not long ago. So anyway, the left is no better. He may be even worse. He's worse on this. I'm not saying this like as a leftist or Democrat, I'm a Republican, but Trump has ruined the Republican Party with his lies, and I turn off a lot of people bringing him up every time, and I don't really care, because the only reason I do that is not because I am mad at him or resent him, but I would like some of these Trump idolaters to wake up, because it's affecting their spiritual lives very, very badly. It's reflective of their lack of spirituality, actually, to not see this very obvious thing.
Dear Trump supporters, Donald Trump was all for the shutdowns, and Donald Trump was all for giving for instead of people working through the pandemic, he gave them government checks, just like a liberal. He just sent them government checks, just like any other Democrat would have done. And then what did he do? He just followed the same. See how Biden did the same thing? So if Biden's doing the same thing, it must be a left-wing thing, right? So he's not this rock of conservatism that people think. He's very malleable in that respect. And maybe he's a great negotiator and all that kind of stuff. But if you don't know what you're supposed to be negotiating for, like he has no moral compass whatsoever when it comes to opposing the LGBTQ agenda. None. Right. It's just like to him, that kind of thing is just like you want to be with a woman? Okay, that's on the restaurant's menu. Oh, you want to be with a man? Okay, that's on the restaurant's menu. And that's how he treats it. And so he's no Christian, people.
No,
Go ahead.
He was holding up their flag more recently. From that quote you gave was way back, but still he hasn't changed. He was holding their flag. I have a picture of them. He was holding up their flag when either when he was president or right prior to getting elected. But that moral compass, that expands on everything. That's why he praises Putin. He praised him when he got elected. He thanked him for his, he congratulated him. This is a civilian mass murderer who's murdered like 60 journalists, a Russian journalist. The man is a civilian war criminal, and he's thanking him. See, this is why, like, we're in great danger. I know it's going to happen. It's already written. It looks like he's the Antichrist, and if it is true, it's looking like it. And I put the link for those evidences in the description, as well as other links for this clot shot mass murder and other things, so you can see it's not just like, not talking out of my, what, but what was I talking about? I just lost my train of thought.
Good. Then I'll interrupt by saying,
okay,
I wanted you to title the show the perfect and something about being a perfect observant. An example of a person who's doing perfect observation. Okay, so who's the example of doing perfect observation as they go through their day?
Who? I don't know who.
Children. Very young children are perfect observators of what's going on around them. Perfect. Yeah. And that's why Jesus said we must become like them. Drop your judgments, which is really like saying drop all your resentments. And not your judgments of what's right, what's wrong. That's an inborn knowing. That's not a judgment. It's inborn. But
Right.
um, uh,
Well,
these
they also,
these children, they don't. After a while, because they see. After a while, when they start speaking what they see, then that's when the parents start to shut them down, because they're going to be speaking about the parents' own fault.
yeah. And, interestingly, the children he was talking about, I believe he also said that because partly because they are before puberty, so they don't have the sexual drive. So we need to return to that too, which is common sense also, because when you let go of your resentments and you let go of your thinking, you also lose your sexual desire. I mean, it doesn't just poof go away. It's a tough critter for men especially, but it definitely goes way down, and then eventually you just let it go because it doesn't matter anymore. You don't need it like you need to eat.
I'm actually embarrassed when I take an extra long look at women, right? As they're passing by me at Walmart, or I go to Walmart a lot, or just anywhere, to take an extra look or to take a longer look. I'm like, I'm not into that game anymore. And I'm able to
Yeah.
not stare at them anymore.
Oh, you
And
know what's interesting? Uh, yeah, it is. And about the eyeballs, like I noticed that if you watch your thinking, the dark side will give you some thoughts or some words in your head, and then it's trying to either it's just trying to make you think, right? Get you into its thinking world. So it'll interjects a few words, and then watch what happens to your body. Your eyes will go to something on the road or something outside to look at, to forget about those thoughts that just popped in. I noticed that a few, I don't know, a few years ago, and it's really amazing. So what I do naturally is I just keep the eye on my mind, and I don't really. I'm aware of that. So when I see the words pop in, I see them more because I'm not looking. I'm aware of the darkness trying to then make me look at something, maybe a lady or a billboard or something. It does that. It's amazing. It's like, I think a lot of people don't realize that, but so I don't pay so much focus on what my eyes are seeing in the world anymore. It's like it doesn't matter as much because the internal seeing is way way more important. So when I look at things too, I have a little kind of detachment from them. Like I used to look at all the things I have, which isn't much, but like there's like an attachment there from looking. um I don't it's kind of hard to explain, but when you have the detachment from your thinking, you also get detached from the whole visual world too, because it's
and
it's just the solid world, but it's the spiritual world that we're focusing on when we're seeing the thoughts and the light. When we meditate, even if it's light, that's going to be our home, whether it's heaven or hell. So that's very important for it to be the focus, not this material world.
it is good too. You know what it also does? It helps you detach from your taste buds, so that you're
Yeah.
not too into your food, and it keeps you, like, say if you know that sugar's bad. Let's say without a doubt you know that sugar is bad, or so there's still like this desire for the sugar products, for different sugar products, or you go to these restaurants and their sauces. Uh, what's that restaurant? Panda Express. Every one of their sauces and all their dishes that they serve, all sugar.
Yeah.
And you can become, as you become more objective to your thoughts, that also helps you become more objective to the rest, or to physical things uh,
Right.
like taste buds and smells and what you see with your eyes and all that stuff. It's very, very comprehensive and nice.
Right. Yep. Yep. Yeah, there's I remember when yeah, I won't say his name, but you remember when he used to say, that minister, that fake minister, that fake black minister, used to say, this world is a illusion. The whole world is an illusion. Everything here, he would say, is an illusion. I believe close to that.
Yeah.
So he's mechanically saying what we're saying, but he's not really saying it right, because it's not an illusion. God made the solid world. It's a lot of it's very beautiful, but it's a matter of, it's just one step in eternity.
Yeah. You think it's an illusion? Then go ahead and walk through the wall. Let's see how much of an illusion that is.
Yeah, it's like,
When you overstate your case,
yeah,
you look foolish.
yeah, you trying to apply a spiritual principle in a retarded intellectual way. And Jesse's very good at that, actually. I can laugh about it now, but you know, it's a lot of ministers. I have yet to hear one minister that's really intuitive, except Roy Masters. Um, oh yeah, Gabriel Erb. He's kind of minister. He's more of a prophet. He's pretty intuitive. Very, very, I would say very intuitive. Not on the level of Roy Masters, but that's not really his calling, though.
Just enough so that he kind of sounds like the Old Testament prophets, in
Yeah,
the sense where he says, "You're not getting into heaven by while you're doing fornication and adultery, and you're married to your third wife and fourth wife and second wife and all this kind of stuff, all these shenanigans that we're doing, the sins, the serious ones, and not."
right,
He's like, you gotta overcome all that stuff. All that stuff needs to be overcome. He can't tell you how, even though we
right,
tried to enlighten him to give that the meditation sets you up to be more objective to temptation. Isn't that nice? When you're objective to temptation, it's what it means is you're not getting your identity from your thinking, because that's what the real problem is it's so easy to get your identity from your feelings and your thoughts and your emotions,
right.
from
Well,
the input of your senses and stuff. You take an identity from that, and all we
right.
really are, as Roy said a long time ago, all we really are is observers.
Well, the amazing thing is, if you watch your mind and your thinking, like if you start talking to yourself and you let that pass, and you're really watching any thoughts, and then something happens that you would normally get annoyed with, all of a sudden you see, because you have that space in your mind, which is your soul watching it, you won't get annoyed. You literally won't get annoyed. You'll just let it pass. And that's the proof that that silent prayer is the way to salvation, right there. I mean, Roy hit it like amazing, and it's really a shame that a lot of these churches didn't get on Roy's bandwagon. I told them that personally. They really should have, but instead they keep on going with their intellectual blather, and teaching the Bible like you're supposed to learn it like a math book, and it doesn't. Salvation doesn't work that way.
They were afraid they might go out of business or something if they pulled the wool off the cat, or what? How's the expression go? If they pull back the curtain, yeah, then they might lose their power of authority over the scriptures and stuff. And
yeah, but it's
coming to them for wisdom, but there's
yeah. But this all it all comes back to love, because if you care about your fellow man, if you love God, you love your conscience, you care, you don't put anything above, like being, something like exposing these clot shots. You don't put anything above that. You don't put some obedience to a man above warning, helping to help people to wake up, to maybe help some gullible parent who may get her or his child injected out of stupidity. You don't put anything above that. Where's the love, you guys? I mean, honestly, where is it? I'm asking you.
The compassion for others suffering. And
Right.
it's a lot of people. Listen, all you out there who are disregarding how serious this Trump Biden, to make you feel better,
Yeah,
Trump
both.
Biden bioweapon is go ahead and count by ones to 1 million. And then after that, go to 2 million and then 3 million. And then you'll get an idea of how many people have been negatively affected just in this country alone. And that's a low estimate.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll say this, and I know that if Roy were alive and people like him, uh, just like I saw when this came out and I found out the information, even that the mainstream media was saying of what the actual bioweapon did, that it went into the DNA, RNA. I don't understand it totally, but it does splice into the human DNA. When I heard that, I knew, so it's doing like the GMO thing, like they do with food, where they hack into the code of the food. Well, they did that with this. The when I knew that, common sense showed me this is off the charts insanity.
Well,
And anyone not in their thinking again saw that. Absolutely insane, evil, stupid, not even the V word. They were lying about that. And all that was discernible without hardly any research.
and when I didn't understand the DNA part because I'm not one of those type of scientists, but I did understand that this injection was creating spike proteins, and
Right.
they were trying to see. This is why you do 10-year studies, which Trump bypassed. Trump's
Yep.
doctors bypassed. The big pharma bypassed. Um, you do them because you want to see long-term effects. And what they found out was that these injections were causing spike proteins, and the spike proteins were forming like synthetic blood clots that couldn't be treated with drugs, and it was
Because this,
like up to
the,
1,200 different symptoms.
oh yeah, because the spike proteins themselves are the poison part of the virus. They are, but when the listen to this, when the DNA spits them out by I think it's billions, they're synthetic. They're filling the body with synthetic crap, poison, literal poison. I mean, it's like there were many doctors showing this, and I'm very grateful for them. They are the ones who should be the leaders of our country. None of these politicians that stood up for against this biological attack they should all be prosecuted. These truth doctors should be in power. These are the ones that, and maybe when Jesus comes in 2028, n.com, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's not, it's
September
real.
28th.
Yeah. When that's Feast of Trumpets, I'm sure he will have administrators of these type of people. Um, I mean, someone has to run the earth, even with Jesus here, right? I would suppose he would put the noble people, not these dimwit, cowardly, colluding with a genocide, biological warfare by these uh, dark forces. We know the names of some of them, right? Chief Bill Gates, that are literally culling the human population. It's like, oh, the words like fail me how evil this is. It's stunning how the Republican Party has been destroyed, utterly destroyed. The Democrats were destroyed many years ago. Now we're done too. Yeah, the Antichrist is up next.
Yeah, he has very little resistance now, as far as Christianity is concerned, because the Christians around Trump are like, they're a joke. They
Yeah.
are a total joke. They don't know what they're talking about. They're over emotionalized. They use all these laying of hands thing. You don't want to be touched by them. And
No. They had like that crazy blonde minister who
yeah,
babbles like
she's the leader.
she makes up some words and she's all sexy looking and she's a psychopath, man. And that's Trump's was at least was Trump's like spiritual advisor. Well, yeah, I mean, no wonder. I mean, good
Spiritual
Lord.
clown show is what it is.
He just liked her because she's hot and sexy. I
That's,
mean, you know,
that's it. That's what I was saying.
yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
for
come
God.
on. She looks like a model, and if she's a blathering, I mean that's a good argument. Her and Joyce Meyer's good argument for never having women as ministers. And I'm not a misogynist or anything, but men fell through the woman. So why you can have a woman to be the minister? The man should be the leader, spiritual leader. But I mean,
Well,
women have a
that's proven in Scripture too. Scripture
yeah,
agrees with you.
yeah.
It just makes sense.
Yeah, so I just hope people will realize that all their self-talk and their thinking is leading them astray. Just try the Roy Masters meditation exercise if you are. If you've been doing it for years and you're still stuck in thinking, maybe ask God for some help, because it's going to get really, really crazy. I'm kind of excited about it in a good way, but it's going to get rough.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I thought,
If you all have, listen, I expect, because I believe what Gabriel Erb has laid out in his channel, his YouTube channel. What's it called? 2028 End Times?
2028 end. If you punch that in YouTube, you'll see Gabriel's channel.
Yeah, I'm like really jazzed about meeting that. If I get the opportunity, I'm going to go after it. I'll spend my last dollar to go to where these two witnesses are to appear in March of 2025.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing last 3.5 years. I mean, and leading up to March 2025. But a lot of these people who think that I and you hate Trump and all this stuff, and their eyes are going to be open. So we'll just see if they're willing to repent at that point and not still blame us or people like us. You know, hopefully they will.
Now they'll just lie and say, you know what? We weren't 100% with him. We just had to go with him. See, he was better than Biden. So they'll figure out a way to excuse themselves for being so willfully ignorant.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean how they've judged people like me and you and others all as Trump haters. You know, they blow us off as Trump haters. So they're very wrong, and they're you know, people like Alan Masters are so intolerant of truth that they actually lie about people like us. He calls me a troll and all this BS, and then they totally censor us from all Roy Masters platform. And Roy Masters is shaking his head in heaven, I'm sure, the way Alan has treated us, because it's not right. It's evil. And I've supported the foundation for like 35 years, and I had to stop because I'm not supporting him the way he behaves, and he's a very angry man, actually. But hopefully,
I send money because I support the website that they have up. You know, the Roy Masters channel on YouTube, and the videos they show on Perilous World Radio. They have a list of books and stuff there too. So that's why I spend money to support that.
Yeah, I understand. But I mean, Roy Masters, I link people directly to him on YouTube. That's self-supporting. That doesn't cost any money. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. All okay, right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up. It's been almost 40 minutes, and I have some things to do. And we only have one person. We had 3 people on, but you know, a lot of people see this after the fact. So
yes. Hey, everybody on StreamYard. Oh, that's just Fabian.
Yeah, there's only one person here, but that's all right. They probably got tired of us and they didn't pop up this time. That's fine, you know.
They're saying the same thing. No,
Huh?
no. They may be saying, they're saying the same thing every week or every few days. So, and we
Well,
all, it's just to initiate new folks into a what we have to offer is nothing less than life-changing advice.
yeah, it's real. It's not BS. But the thing is, we don't say the same thing in the same way each time. Um, I've seen other YouTube channels where you'll see them and they'll say like they're very repetitive, the same sentences over and over. Hopefully this is a lot better and more unique. I'm sure it is because I'm not, you know, they're just new ways to say truth because that's the way the Holy Spirit is. It doesn't bore people. It doesn't make people roll their eyes because you know, it's dynamic, man. It's maverick. I mean, come on. Being a Christian isn't being like some egghead, you know, blathering like some science teacher in a class that that's not being a Christian. I mean, come on. What's wrong with
Yeah,
you, minister?
we have found a way to um, suffer less pain when we don't do what our ego suggests in our mind. And that comes with practice because I was blown away by what all this means. When you start meditating, oh my gosh, you feel like, hey, I can't say any one of my thoughts. I can't act out a single thought. That's what David Cracciola is getting all, and others are getting all nervous about, and like they're like, this is crazy.
Mhm.
I'll be a vegetable if I don't respond to my thoughts and all this
Right.
stuff. They don't realize there's a whole nother life that comes out of gently letting your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions go by, not getting into your false identity and allowing yourself to feel, because you got to go through the pain of letting that go.
Right.
And God gives you um, the uh, the joy of letting it go, and then He fulfills you with like Jesus said, "My burden is light." And now life seems to be far more lighter for me than ever. So
Right. You're not full of words and thinking and what the next exciting thing you're going to do or eat. So it feels like more dull, but you get used
for
to
a
it. And then
while, for a
it's
while it
not,
does.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like it feels almost, yeah, like I said earlier, it feels like you're dying, but the funny thing is you have a peace and a calm. Um, and then when you do things, it's more enjoyable really because you're not getting so into it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
All righty, well, have a good evening, and I will go do my laundry now.
And I will
And
go down to Alibi Bar right there and have a Diet Coke. No, I'm kidding.
all right. Oh,
All right.
yeah, okay.
Have a good night.
Okay, see you later. Thank you.
All right. Bye.